Ahoy there, chummers, and welcome to another episode of The Sixth World, the show where we just sit around and talk about all things Shadowrun. Now, last episode, we talked about some of our most memorable characters that we had at our gaming tables over the years, whether as a player or whether as a GM. Mine were all GM, of course, because I am my group's perpetual GM when it comes to Shadowrun. But there was one commenter that was talking about one of their trolls that they had that really actually reminded me of one of the most memorable characters that I have had at my gaming table that I ironically completely forgot about when I was doing that episode. But I figured I would go ahead and do a follow-up to kind of tell you of the tale of Stefan. Now, Stefan was your quintessential Shadowrunner, ladies and gentlemen. He had all of the skills and stats right where it counted. Great physical stats. He had all sorts of combat skills, was proficient in many different weapons, proficient in, I think, 3 different martial arts styles or something like that. It was very extensive. He could drive, he could do a little bit of hacking, he had all the right gear, all the right cyberware, everything that anybody in the Sixth World would expect a Shadowrunner to have. And the reason for that is because Stefan was an actor. So you see, the player that was the person that was playing Stefan, he had the idea to do a Shadowrunner who was literally an actor. So he basically went through, and when he was picking his skills and gear at character creation, he thought about what people in the Sixth World, what people in normal people in Shadowrun would expect a Shadowrunner to have, and he took all of those skills and took all of that gear and all that cyberware, and modeled modeled Stefan after a typical media interpretation of what a Shadowrunner was. Of course, there were 2 catches here. First catch was that Stefan was a real Shadowrunner. And the second catch was that Stefan was dumb as a brick. Now, I mean that when I say he was dumb as a brick, his intelligence was 1. Intelligence was the dump stat. Wisdom was pretty low too, but he had bumped that up a little bit higher in order to help with resisting spells and things like that. But his intelligence was 1, and before we started the game, he came to me with the full idea for the character. And it was essentially that Stefan was a Shadowrunner who was not only the quintessential Shadowrunner, had all the typical skills and everything. Not only was he dumb as a brick, but he was also delusional to the point where he thought that he actually was an actor, and all of the Shadowruns that he went on were movies that he was shooting, or it was either movies that he was shooting or it was a TV show that he was shooting. I forget which one it was. Doesn't really matter, but yeah, he had quote unquote Hollywood contacts as well. We'll get to that in a minute. So I thought this was a hilarious idea. I mean, he actually did take a flaw that he was delusional to the point where he thought that he was an actor and that he was going on these movie shoots whenever he went on these Shadowruns, and he rationalized everything that happened on these Shadowruns within the context of shooting a movie. So when he shot somebody and killed them, which he often did because he had some very decent firearm skills and actually was a pretty natural sniper, when he killed somebody, it was special effects. It was a stunt double. It was somebody who was trained to act like they were taking a bullet, and a combination of squibs and special effects. That's what it was. Even when people died very violently, sometimes blown into various pieces or ripped apart by some of their more melee-centric teammates. It was special effects. It was all special effects. Now, he played this up as well, even during downtime, even during meets, especially during meets. It got to the point almost where they couldn't take him. The runners couldn't take him on meets because he would go around signing autographs, regardless of whether people wanted it or not, regardless of whether people knew who he was or not, and 99% of the time they did not know who he was, he would sign autographs for people. And he would act like a big movie star, spend money, always get the VIP room whenever he goes to Dante's Inferno or anything like that, always spend as much money as possible, basically big and flashy. If nothing else, he served as a distraction for the rest of the team. And believe it or not, despite his delusion, despite his intelligence, he actually was a fairly decent face character when it came down to it. On the rare occasions when Stefan actually had somewhat lucid moments, he could negotiate pretty hard. He actually negotiated several contracts with his team that were actually very favorable, almost the equivalent of what a good fixer would be able to get out of a Johnson. Now, I mentioned Stefan's contacts earlier. Stefan had quote-unquote Hollywood contacts. So he basically took normal Shadowrunning contacts, but they had a Hollywood twist to them. His fixer, for example, was his agent, and his agent found him all of these gigs. And the fixer saw that Stefan was delusional, that he was crazy, that he was stupid as hell, but also that he was making him a shitload of money. So he played into that. He dressed like a Hollywood agent. He took calls like a Hollywood agent. He used some of the lingo of the stereotypical Hollywood lingo. You call your people, I'll call my people. Let's do lunch. All that stuff. He played into that completely and fed Stefan's delusion, so that Stefan would keep using him as his quote-unquote agent and keep making him buttloads of extra cash. And then I forget what exactly it was. He had a street doc who was his personal physician. This street doc didn't play into the delusion as much as the fixer did, but he didn't really argue with it because I think he was like a level 2 contact or something like that. And he would always, the street doc would always try and sell him various upgrades that would increase his intelligence. And Stefan always was like, no, I don't need any of that. I'm already as smart as I need to be, and why would I change things? I don't want to mess up my pretty face, and so on and so forth. So this character, he actually played this character for, I think, a good solid 2 years almost. It was a very long time. I forget exactly. It was a very, very long time. But eventually he got into a rut with Stefan and got to the point where he didn't really want to play the character anymore. And it was kind of grating on him. And he didn't want to kill the character, but he was looking for a way to retire the character. Now, one of my players had a problem with Stefan. Did not like him. Did not. And before I continue, I want to say that this was not like player versus player drama or anything like that. This was all in character. So the character that this other player had, she was a Troll Street Samurai, the same Troll Street Samurai from the previous episode that I told you about then. This character was always very, very practical, no nonsense, and that sort of thing, and really didn't have time for any of Stefan's dreck. She tolerated him because he was good at his job, but eventually it got to the point where she was just about ready to kill him, and Stefan was getting particularly insufferable. His delusions had worsened a little bit over the course of the game, and he was getting to the point where he was actually becoming a security risk for the runners. He was actually trying to get some bigger contracts, stuff that would lead to more exposure for the team, and the rest of the team was not really not in a good place with Stefan. So they were trying to figure out a way to get rid of him. Now, again, this is all in character stuff. The players themselves, we all thought that Stefan was absolutely hilarious. The person playing Stefan, his rut that he was getting into, it was real. Again, because he had played this character for a very, very, very long time, and he was just getting tired of it. So, we all decided that, okay, if Stefan is ever injured, we're going to go ahead and buy him a cerebral booster and have it implanted in him. Essentially, is what the group had decided on. Now, up until this point, Stefan had been injured. They had tried to sell him on getting a cerebral booster before, but he had always, of course, denied it because he never actually needed it. So there was one time that he did get actually seriously hurt on a run. He didn't almost die, but he did get to the point where he did need some surgery. I think he ended up losing an arm or something like that and needed a cyber arm. So they took him to his street doc, and they slid an extra 10K into the street doc to install a cerebral booster for him. Not a big one because the team was very tight on cash at the moment, but just like a rating 1 cerebral booster, just enough to bump his intelligence up 1 point. So surgery was a complete success. Stefan woke up, acted normal, like he normally did, a little bit off. And the next run was when the cerebral booster kicked in, and Stefan's player, we all knew this was going to be Stefan's last outing with the team. This is going to be his last game. And it was actually really funny because they were, I forget what the job was, but they essentially penetrated a corporate compound, ended up tripping an alarm, that brought the goon, no, it wasn't that they tripped an alarm. What was it? I gotta think back because this was like 10 years ago, so this was a very, very long time ago for me to remember all the details. No, I remember now. Okay, so what it was is they were in danger of being discovered, trying to break into a compound. There was a guard patrol or something like that. Stefan was on Overwatch. He was up in a sniper's perch, going on Overwatch, and he's happy as can be. Thinks he's on another movie shoot. And he sees the guard coming, and he takes out the guard. Bam, headshot with the very, very, very expensive, very nice sniper rifle that he had. Instant kill. Guard's brains are splattered all over the pavement. The team goes on to hack the doorway that they were trying to get into and enter successfully. And Stefan doesn't follow the team. And the player's just sitting there, wide-eyed, the expression of horror on his face. And everybody's just looking over at him. And the one of the players is like, "All right, are we gonna go?" And I'm like, "Are you asking?" Stefan's just sitting there. Are you asking him in character? He's like, "Yeah." I get on the comlink and I ask him, "Stefan, are we gonna go?" He's like, "Oh my God. Oh my God, I just shot that guy." And she's like, "Yeah, you just shot him. It's fine though. He'll be up for the next scene. It's all good. Let's go." No, I killed him. I fragging killed him. Oh my God, is this what I've been doing this entire time? And all of a sudden, the way he played this off, this was he had to have planned this out beforehand and had to have known how it was going to go, because I don't really see it. This was so good, and I don't see this as being something that was made up on the spot. But Stefan, long story short, Stefan essentially freaks the hell out because he realizes that all this time he's actually been a Shadowrunner. That he's literally almost died several times, and that he has killed numerous people, some of them innocent, gleefully so in some cases, because he thought in his mind that it was all a movie, that it was all pretend. He was an actor. These were all people playing a role, and that everybody that he killed was an extra or a stuntman or something, somebody who was coming back in another scene or in another movie or going on to another job or whatever. And his mind, with the one point of intelligence, completely shattered his delusions, and Stefan freaked the hell out. The run goes south because they don't have Overwatch anymore, so they don't find any other patrols or anything like that, and the team damn near dies in a gripping escape from this corporate compound, dragging Stefan behind them because Stefan at this point is damn near catatonic with the realization that he is a real Shadowrunner and a very, very horrible person to boot, and a murderer, and somebody who probably deserves to be executed for his crimes, if not locked up for life. So Stefan essentially ghosts the team at the end of the session. He literally just ghosts the team, packs up and moves his stuff, actually destroys his apartment, actually bombs it, detonates it. And I forget where the character actually ended up going. I think he went to like an Indian ashram or something like that. It's some holy site in, something that Hollywood people do when they go to like these spiritual retreats to like decompress, or when they're really actually going into rehab or something like that. He had enough of the delusion left and enough of the Hollywood lifestyle left in him that he gave it a very Hollywood ending. And Stefan has never been back. Not since. The team actually had tried to contact him several times to use him for a fixer, because again, as I said, he was actually a very good face character. He was a really good face character. Dumb as a brick, but his negotiation skills, because he was a Hollywood actor, his negotiation skills and his charisma and his face skills were off the charts. Almost as good as his physical skills. Almost as good, but not quite. And they were like, oh, well, he can be our fixer. And the player, every single time, he was like, no, Stefan's not coming back. He's not going to do it. You guys don't understand. He's not going to come back because of what that did to him. And I agreed with him. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to use Stefan as an NPC. I'm not going to use him in any other capacity because, yes, his brain is broken. He is completely done with this life. He would want nothing to do with any of you ever again. And we'll see, maybe he comes back at some point, but for right now, no. Stefan is gone, and he has remained gone. He's come up a couple of times over the years, and every single time it's the same answer, mainly because the player doesn't want to play him anymore. Like I said, he got very tired of the character. He doesn't want to do it anymore. Personally, I don't want to do it either because there's no way I could do it justice. But anyway, so that, I can't believe I didn't remember this character when I was doing that episode last time, but that is, without a doubt, the single most memorable character, the single most well-played character that I have ever had at my table. So, anyway, I'm going to leave this episode for here. If you have any further stories about any memorable characters, and maybe the ends that these memorable characters met, if they are similarly epic or similarly clever or well-acted or whatever, let me know in the comment section below. As always, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will see you all next time. And that's the chip truth, chummers. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more Shadowrun content. Hit that notification bell so you will always know when I upload a brand new Shadowrun video, and until next time, remember to shoot straight and never, ever deal with a dragon.